Video, Basic Video Editing Part B in playlist How to Record Video Tutorials. This video describes the remaining basic editing functions of the CyberLink PowerDirector video editor. The first functions were described in Basic Video Editing Part A. Part B shows how to combine parts of several videos and adjust the audio levels of different clips to produce a finished video. This is a Tom's Tech Notes video. There are over 200 computer help and hobby videos on my channel page. If the video you are watching is part of a series, you should watch the series videos in order from the playlist on the channel page. To visit the channel, you can type this URL into your browser. You can search for TOMSTDA. The Google search works much better than the other searches. If they appear in your video window, you can click my name, Thomas Wallace, my photo, or a clickable link. To be notified when videos are added or updated to the channel, click the red subscribe button and request email notification. Now this area is called a preview window. It will show you the video at the point where this progress indicator is, or this time marker. And presently, the preview window timeline from here to here is the entire video. So if you drag the progress marker here across, it will move the video forward in time to where the marker is, and will show you the picture there. This is the end of this video. What we're going to do is we're going to use the preview window to find a point here where we want to edit the video. And the way you do that, you drag this marker back and forth until you're approximately, with a picture, approximately where you want to edit it. Then you're going to make note of this time indicator here. These are very accurate indications where you are in the video. So let's say we think 3024 is where we want to start editing. So to be sure, play the video starting at that same point. Now, if that was indeed where you want to edit, you back it up to that exact same number. So if it was, say, 3214, back it up until it's exactly 3214. This is a rough control here. Let's say we went 3514. So we're close. But you can fine-tune it by clicking this arrow or this arrow. This is backwards, 18, 17, 14. There is 35, 14. Let's say that's where we want to start editing. Let's say we verified that's it. We can split the video at that point by clicking the split button. Now we have two sections of the video that we can select. When you select a section, the preview window will show from here to here as you move this arrow. So when I move it all the way over, it's at the end of this section. If I select this section, same thing. It moves all the way over in the preview window.
In previous versions, pressing the play button played the selected section, then stopped. In version 13, pressing the play button deselects the section and plays from the current point to the end of the video. To resume working within the section, you must select it again. You also need to be aware that when you are moving within a section, the progress numbers under the preview window show the position within that selected section. If the section is not selected, and if no sections are selected, those preview numbers indicate the position in the entire video.
Now, so let's say that we're going to start our video. You can drag this back and forth, and you can fine-tune it back and forth with these two markers here. So you get exactly where you want to end your edit, and then you split this file again. So you hit the split button because we want to edit this section. Now, if you want to remove that section, just click it and drag it down. That'll leave a hole. And you might want to put a piece of the other video at that point, or you might even want to put a piece of the same video at that point. So you would, again, you'd isolate the start and end point of the section you wanted, By moving it around, you can move through the whole video with this arrow. You can move through the selected section between splits with the marker here. So let's say we go through the trial and error process and we find where in this video section we want to insert here. In other words, we're changing things around. We split. Then you find the end of that little section you're working with by, again, trial and error, looking at it in the preview window. You split it there. And you want this piece over here, so you just click it and drag it. And now it's there. You can line it up if you want, or you could just delete the holes later. So there it is. Now, you moved a piece over, you took this piece out, fine. Now, let's say we got to get rid of this hole.
Power Director has 3 different ways to remove a gap, depending on what surrounds it. Try them all until you find the one that works. First, click in the gap, press the Delete key. If that works, you're done. If that doesn't work, right-click in the hole and select Remove and Move Clips on the Same Track. That's if you want to close the hole. If you want to leave the hole, don't use this method. If all else fails, select everything to the right of the gap. Press and hold the left mouse button anywhere on the selected section and drag it to the left until the gap is closed. If you drag it too far, you'll get a message asking you whether or not you want to overwrite. If you get that message, just click elsewhere to cancel the drag and drag it again until you exactly close the gap. And again, if you get part way there, you can resume. If you need help judging the gap, you can always expand the timeline. Stretch it out so you can more accurately determine where you are when you're dragging. There are various options in some of those methods of deleting the gap, depending on whether or not you have more than one video track that you're editing and whether you want to move them all or not as you close the gap. But you'll figure that out once you get more experience using the editor.
Let's say you want to delete a section within your video. You select it. Remember, it has to have a split on each end. You select it and hit the delete key. Now, if you do that, you have an option. You can leave a gap, or if you're going to put something in it, for instance, or you can remove and fill it. That'll move things so there is no gap. So you can choose either one. I'll just go ahead and leave the gap. So we're going to insert something else. Now, maybe we're going to insert, this is the piece we took out of this video, so we're probably not going to use that one. So click it, hit delete. Now, let's take the other video and move it down. And let's go through the process on it. Now, the trick here is the preview window will show basically what's selected and play what's selected for the audio. But what you need to do is you need to deselect the one you don't want to look at and select the one you do want to look at. So now we're going to go through that same process and pick out a piece of this video that we're going to put up here. And now you just click and drag that piece to wherever you want to put it in the video you're editing up there. So you can combine many videos that way, pieces of them, back and forth, move them around, things like that. Now, once you've done that and you've gotten rid of all the gaps, we have the thing ready to finish. Our finished video is here. I find it simpler if I get rid of all the other pieces because I don't normally output more than one piece. So select the entire, any other pieces that are floating around down here. Get rid of all of them. So there's only one. There's no confusion. Go ahead and select that track in case you want to do a final run through up here to make sure that you did it right.
If you followed my instructions for installing and adjusting the volume level of your microphone, all the pieces you're working with should have the same volume. But if they don't, you'll need to normalize.
You click this slider up here that says Audio Mixing Room.
What I've done here is I've started CyberLink Power Director. I've input 3 different files. I've combined pieces of those files. If you notice on the audio display, this section has a lower volume level than this section, and then that section looks like it's slightly lower too. The simplest way to get them all the same volume, if you're not doing like music where you want the right dynamic range, the simplest way to get them all the same volume is to open the mixing room and click Normalize. That will automatically adjust each piece in the video so that they all have about the same volume. That is by far the easiest way to adjust the volume. Now, you may find that the volume level of the adjusted video is lower than you would like for a final video. There is a way to increase the volume of the entire track, and that is by moving this slider right here. That proportionally adjusts the volume of all the sections in the track. There's another way to adjust the individual sections, and I'll go back and restore the original levels to show you what that is. Restore to original volume level. And then if I put this back in the middle, everything is about where it was before. Now, the other way to adjust the volume of the individual clips is more complicated. I really don't recommend you use it. Again, I would suggest normalizing is the simplest way to adjust clips in a video. But if you did want to adjust the individual clips in the video, here's how to do that. Select the section you want to work with. You're going to need a marker right here, so you're going to get just to the left of the split line, and you're going to click on that line when your cursor shows a little square at the end. You're going to click it. Now I have a dot on each end. You need those dots, and you'll see why in a minute. Go ahead and do it on all the pieces. We're not going to adjust this piece. We're probably going to adjust this piece, and that already has a dot on each end. That's critical. What you can do now is you can hover over it until it turns red to a red dot, click it, drag it up. Do the same on the other dot on the other end. This is time consuming. There's a lot of trial and error till you get the volume level here, about the same as here. This one needs to go up a little bit. Again, hover over it until it turns into a red dot. May need to click it. Do the same on this end. So now they're roughly the same. Now you can go ahead and produce without normalizing. But again, it's much easier if you don't want to preserve a dynamic range in your audio. It's much easier to just click normalize and then produce. Another option, and it's even more complicated, is for each section you can select it and click edit audio and then select the one you have installed, and I have Wave Editor installed. That's free. You have to pay for this one. So you can go into the Wave Editor and you can edit, and I do have a video describing how to do that, but again, that's more complicated than just simply clicking normalize. Once you've finished assembling your video and have adjusted the volume of the pieces, you're ready to produce the final video.
You click the produce button up here. I recommend you always output an MP4. Now the way to do that, click this one, H264ABC, click it. Now you need to click this arrowhead and select MP4. Now you'll get an MP4 file, and YouTube likes MP4 files. The options that we showed you how to set earlier in this video will cause the name of the file to be produced, but it'll cause it to be produced on your desktop. And that's normally the way I do it because it's simpler to find it that way. So it's ready to go. You've got MP4 set, and I'll move it up so you can see the start button. There's the start button. Started. Okay. Does all the processing it needs and outputs the video file to the location it just showed down at the bottom here, which is file produced on the desktop. So it's ready to go. And if you play it later and you find out you made an error, just throw it back into the editor and edit it again. Earlier in the video, we described setting the output file name for the PowerDirector editor to the word produce. Now I'm going to show you how to rename the output file to replace the original file. In my example here, file I just edited is the file we just edited with PowerDirector. Produce.mp4 is the result of that edit. Here's how you replace the original file with the edited version. What you do is you click it once, the original file, once to select it, click the name to select just the name, press Ctrl C to copy that name to the clipboard. Now click elsewhere to deselect it, click again to select the whole file, press the delete key, confirm the delete. Now the old file is gone, but the name is on the clipboard. Click the output file produce once to select it, click the name to select just the name, press Ctrl V to paste in the name of the original file that we just copied to the clipboard, click elsewhere to save the name. Now you have replaced the original file with the edited version and you have kept the name.
We will describe many other features of CyberLink PowerDirector in later videos in this series. That's the end of this video. Once again, here are several ways to visit the Tom's Tech Notes channel page.